Well, hello there, my darling Aries. Welcome to July. Last month I did everybody's reading all in one live stream, which was super fun, actually. But I thought I would keep them separate just so we can start all those beautifully aligned conversation under each sign. Now, look, if you're into astrology, you know that these signs can show up all through your chart. It's not just your sun sign, but go with what you're working on. So if you're just working through your sun sign, you just discovered that, this is relevant. If you're working through every Aries theme in your chart, particularly if it's coming up this month, this year, this decade, then that's great too. I have an Aries sun and also an Aries North node, which are in at the moment. So double Aries at this point is a beautiful energy to work through. Now, I'm going to do as many tarot cards as I am shadow cards. There's something that I've been feeling today and over the last few weeks that I feel like we're in this precipice of deep shadow work. It might be the solstice at that deep reflection point. It's different for us in different hemispheres, but that seems to illuminate some things as we start to go through the transition. And what I feel is hot on my tail, and what my guides are telling me is that it's a very potent point for shadow work. And I think people are a little bit more, I hope anyway, receptive to shadow work. I think it's a more well-known topic now, thanks to Carl Jung and all these beautiful people that have done it, gone through it, written books about it, understood it. And I think it takes a little bit of courage for us to go through shadow work, and it takes a bit of courage for me to hold the container for shadow work, because we know that it's not comfortable stuff, but my mission particularly isn't really about the comfortable stuff. It's about getting people to a more awakened and healed state, no matter what it takes, really. So these readings are free and I love to offer them for you. Please let me know if you're resonating. I love hearing from you. I love the comments. Please ask questions. As some of you know, we will be doing a live stream Q&A in the middle of the month. That was super awesome last time. We opened up this beautiful conversation about ancestral curses, which is still open and ongoing. So any question that you want a lot of depth in, I will do my best. Particularly those very aligned questions. My guides go to a lot of trouble to make sure the message fits. So 3 tarot cards, 3 shadow cards. And for those of you who don't know, this is my own Stalk Your Shadow Oracle deck that I self-published, particularly for my students, actually, as a companion for shamanic training, but it is animal spirit cards, their shadow aspects. Because when you start working with your totem, your power animals, we get animals for all sorts of things. We have sovereignty animals. We have animals that help us with certain projects. We have shadow animals. We have animal entities connected to our businesses, to our land, to our dwellings. And what I found was it's really easy to find information about the light aspects and the obvious aspects, but the shadow aspects are harder to find. And I believe even grittier. It's easier to work with shadow aspects through animals than it is to work with shadow aspects through your personality. But either way, they are hitting your personality. So it can be confronting. But for those of you that love it, like I do, it is deeply resonant, but also it's the grit we're looking for. It's the part, the challenge. We don't want to be stuck in our egos. We don't want our egos to run the show. We don't want to loop around in patterns. We don't want to preserve ourselves. We want real, meaningful, deep connection with ourselves, with other people, with the world. And that takes shadow work, because we are here on a mission and we're in deep polarity on earth, light and dark. And plenty of encouragement to look at the light, plenty of self-shame and guilt and criticism in the middle, but then true shadow work is undoing everything that preserves us as the way we think we are. True shadow work opens the door to, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I wasn't equipped. Maybe I don't have everything I need. Maybe I'm not in control. Maybe that part of me isn't healed. Maybe I had no idea what I'm doing. Maybe that part of me is trying to die. Maybe that aspect of me is trying to change. And I want to go through that door. And I want it to be my conscious sovereign choice, right? Which is the part that I find sweetens the deal. When you willingly open the door and say, I'm willing to look at the parts of myself that are unhealed, I'm willing to look at the parts of myself that I might sense feel like a failure or a mistake, or the parts of me that hurt other people, at least we have conscious sovereign choice, and we go through the door going, well, this might hurt, but I'm going to do it, rather than your whole world falling apart. You get thrown under the bus, so to speak. Your guides have to slap you around and say, look, wake up. If you won't go through that door, we've got no choice but to open the door and boot you through. So what I teach my students is there are ongoing confronting needs for your shadow self and your higher self that will take you through learning. It is better to surrender to the process and open the doors yourself than to need dramatic chaos in order to go through. So it's almost like saying to your guides, look, I don't want to learn through a chronic illness. I don't want to learn through massive loss. I don't want any more trauma. I'll go through the doors if you help me, if you guide me, if you show me which doors at what time, and then you ask for the courage to walk through them. So we're going to give you a heads up on what's on this July. Again, little doses of shadow work much better than being thrown under the bus, right? So on a 3D level, remember, we are 5D beings, most of us, living in a 3D world. That creates discourse, that creates fractures, that creates trauma, that creates friction to our soul. And we can use that as fuel and fire for what we're here to do and how awesome this could be. Or we can use it as a means to lower our vibration, make us really pissed off and bitter at the system and all of those things that we're really used to. So you can imagine when you're unplugged from that world, you realize there's something more, you go up into 5D, but then you go, oh my God, look at the mess. What are we going to do? Are we going to fight? Are we going to retreat? We're going to isolate? That's the part that we're in. Yeah. Or you might be on the precipice of that. You might be asking the questions or delving into those doors that say, I think there's something else here for me. I can feel something in my soul, right? And when my clients come to me, they know they're here for a big purpose. And I say, well, strap in. It's going to be big. It's going to take a lot of work. So very Aries card, my Aries darlings. The Emperor says, we need a plan, we need structure, we need actions, we need to do it step 1 through to step 10, we need to follow through, we need accountability, we need so much of that structure around us so that we stay on top of this thing. We need to have a plan. Now, the Emperor, they say, is not a spiritual man, he's not a philosophical man, he's not a caring, kind, compassionate man. He gets the job done. And he gets the job done from a 3D level. So remember, even as a 5D being floating up with your higher self and the guides and talking to nature and all of that, if your 3D lives aren't sorted, you will navigate back down. And I think being out there as a spiritual awakening, awesome. If you're not grounded in your body, everything's going to get very strange. So we need grounding, we need structure, we need day-to-day routine. We can't get through this without a routine. Routine builds confidence. If you have a morning routine where you smash all these things that you know are going to facilitate a better frequency for you, then you're more likely to, yes, get the dopamine that you need to pursue something bigger, but also feel like things are in the structure, they're in routine, you're going for it, you're accomplishing it, you're trying. Yeah. Emperor comes in to say, part of this is a battle, and the way we get through battle is organization, having a plan, having a goal, and getting there, right? So you need organizational structures around you. This is very important. Even if it's a spiritual progression, even if it's you want to become an artist, a healer, open a business, get a better job, whatever it is, we do need that structure. You're not going to get a better job without building an excellent resume, applying for some awesome jobs, showing up to the interview and smashing it. This is the structure that we need. The Emperor says right now at this time, we're not winging it. We actually need to put everything in place. Where are we going? So if you've been backing away and avoiding things and going into a fear mechanism, there might be some expansion trying to get to you. Emperor says, let's strategize our way there. Because if we don't, the consequence is that we will negate our self-esteem, we'll negate all the self-worth that we've worked hard to get. That lack of structure and that lack of planning can wreak havoc on our confidence. And we run the risk of going into a small state again, right? We don't want to go into a pity party. We don't want to go into fear-based mechanisms. We don't want to go into isolation and programs around that I have to do it all on my own and it's not worth it and what's the point? In that low state, we negate everything that we've built around us to keep us in that beautiful state. So even if the world is beautiful outside and we've made it up into a higher frequency, if we don't structure around that to hold that frequency, we risk going back down and going into survival mode. All of our resources burn out, our adrenals go out, we get dehydrated, whatever it is, we lose sleep and your vibration will lower, and that will make a spiritual purpose almost tormenting. If you do slide back down there, we need the Emperor energy to come in and say, right, sleep routine, morning routine, healthy eating, exercise, meditation, all of the things. That 2% every day to get you towards the higher vibration. Then at that higher vibration, we will continue to heal the parts of our past that are waiting for us. Your inner child that longs to be seen and heard, the parts of you left in the past that have been dismissed because we're too busy, we allow ourselves and put ourselves in a container of healing. Now, healing to me is we need structure. If you're going to open the doors to the past and figure out what's there, we need to put you in a bubble that says, I'm going to look after myself. I have the right people around me. I've got the support systems, the network, the friends, the therapists, the caregivers, the healers, whatever. And when I open these doors, they might be big, but I'm willing to go through that because healing is important to me. The Emperor says we need structure for all of it. So it sounds like it's going to be a fairly big July for deeper healing. That could be ancestral, that could be to do with your personality, your past, whatever is starting to bubble to the surface now is a good indication of what is actually trying to be healed. If you know that you're stuck in a pattern, like something isn't resolving, you took action, but it doesn't feel right and you don't know which way to go and you're starting to get salty about it, remember that there might be some more healing to be done. We've got to create the container, have the structure, the support systems around you. Now, if you're low and you don't have anyone around you, there are other ways to create support networks. There are services available to you, many different ways you can do it, many online groups with some beautiful people in there just ready to say, look, I totally get it. I've been there. I know what you're going through. Please let me help you, to make you feel that sense of connection. It is all about online tribes at the moment. As we start to select our soul tribe and call them in, online provides this space where you can feel connection, but have a boundary there so that you don't feel obligated or too close to people or too triggered by their physical presence. It's really like we can get our needs met in those new ways. And I implore you to do that. If that's all you have available and that's all the resources that you have, please do that. Shadow aspects. You must find permission within. No one's going to come along and say, hey, you really need to do this healing. You really need to sort your shit out. You really need to build a structure and do that routine that you've been needing to do. You're the one you've been looking for. You're the one that has to say, okay, I'm going to do this, right? And at least initiate. It's I'm going to pick myself up off the floor, be my own best parents and say, right, we need to go into this. We're going to need a plan. We're going to need goals, and we're going to need the right people. So give yourself permission. Spirit is always ready to help you. But if you're sitting in a pity party, Spirit will just be like, all right, well, don't think that's where they want to be, but they're not making any effort to get out of it. We'll just wait, and hopefully they'll see our signals of beauty, right? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. The wolf, strong totem, comes in to say, structure's very important, discipline's very important, but don't do it from anyone else's expectations. You don't have to be in a role for someone else to justify looking after yourself, right? The wolf comes with a lesson. Your pack's really important, but don't make excuses for the wrong pack, and don't be in a pack that's not aligned. If these people can't support you, if they don't see the effort you're putting in, if they can't hold you accountable, if they're not the ones to say, hey, you're not looking after yourself, I can see that, and you're not showing up to yourself, what's going on here? Then look at your pack, see what you've got, and don't dare stay in a role for someone else's comfort when you know there's another level trying to contact you. So hone in, right? Wolves will leave a pack if they need to. And they do that on a survival mechanism. We know the story of lone wolves, and it's an important chapter in every awakening. If you need to leave one pack for another, and you know that that journey is going to have periods of loneliness and discomfort, then own that and know that you're going to a better place for you. So take the responsibility in that and know that even on your own, you can have the discipline, the support structures, and everything that you need, right? Find a pack somehow, find the support somehow. And if it's you and online and a couple of teachers and some free sessions over here and a free app and a free course, whatever you can manage, then that's what we do. If you have the resources, you can create your own support network and your own pack using coaches, mentors, outsourcing, other people, collaborators, and create a network around you that helps you strive for what you want. There's no point hanging around with people that do nothing, go nowhere, and then pull you down in the meantime. We also have Fairy Wren coming in, number 33. There's a little bit of a message here around what you focus on and the way that you do things is really important for you. You have to honor the way that works for you, not the way other people would like you to do it. So fairy wrens are naturally promiscuous, right? Very cool thing that they do. And that's just part of their unique makeup. And it works for them. So if you are promiscuous with your projects, if you are promiscuous with your friends, you like to float over here, get a bit from that one, float over here, you might not be that stable, I'm always here for you till death person. You might just pop into people's lives, have some awesome conversations, and off you go doing other things. Fairy Wren says that's totally fine. Whatever your focus is, universe will back you. But if you're putting pressure on yourself to be a certain way when your energy is saying doing something different, if your guides are opening all the doors, but you're like, no, I have to just cross one door and that's the only way to do it, and I have to make sure that I'm this for that person, this doesn't really work here. You've got to have a plan. You're going to focus on the plan. You can have fun doing it for sure, but it's your plan and you need to figure out the action steps and the protocols that are going to get you there. And you can be promiscuous with your projects, with your routine, with the way that you do things. Do it for you, right? So I expect that I'll be on a different program to my partner and my friends. And whatever flavor of neurodivergence or neurospiciness that's going on, I honor that they do things in completely different ways. And I get it and I love it and I celebrate it. So don't ever say, well, they do it like that, I should do it like that. Do it your own way. Go with your own intuitive feeling. Try and understand what your body needs so that your soul can get to that level and pull you up there. I hope that makes sense. So we have a whole bunch of planning to do, it feels like. Now, remember that planning your own goals, having your own routine, setting your own confidence in place, nourishing your own body, going into your own healing when you're ready, all adds to self-acceptance, self-responsibility, and self-esteem. Please prioritize that for yourself. It's incredibly important. If you fall into the victim archetype, you may stay there way too long. So do it for you, create the structures, believe in yourself, even when no one else believes in you, and create the dream that you want, and be careful of the shadow, right? Be careful of other people's expectations. I love you guys so much. I'll see you next month. Bye.